There is a type of person you rarely notice at first. Not the loudest one in the room, not the one constantly posting updates about their latest breakthrough. It is the one who, quietly and without any fanfare, has made the decision to put their life back in order. And what you're about to hear in the next few minutes might change the way you look at your own daily life, not as a checklist to get through, but as a reflection of everything you carry inside. There is something deeply powerful about the silence of those who act without announcing it. No grand declarations, no promises made in the heat of the moment, only deliberate gestures repeated with consistency, day after day, away from any audience. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists of the last century, understood this long before our era of constant notifications and endless scrolling. He said that whoever looks outside dreams, but whoever looks inside awakens. Those words have not aged a single day because they speak to something universal, something that no algorithm can replace. Real order does not begin in your living room or in your planner or in your inbox. It begins in that space you pass through every single morning before you even open your eyes, that quiet place between you and your own thoughts. Our culture has developed a troubling obsession with appearances. Spotless home offices, photographed under perfect lighting, color-coded planners, productivity apps promising to optimize every hour of your day. Yet behind all of these well-arranged surfaces, countless people still feel lost, drained, and overwhelmed by a chaos that no one else can see. Because real disorder is not visible, it is felt. You can clean your house every single week and still feel completely submerged because what weighs on you is not sitting on the coffee table, it is sitting in your mind. Unfinished thoughts, decisions endlessly postponed, emotions never fully processed, all of it accumulates over time. And that accumulation creates something insidious, a mental fog that exhausts you without warning, dulls your focus, and leaves you with the strange feeling of going in circles despite all the effort you put in. The real cleanup, the kind that genuinely transforms a life, begins the moment you decide to look at yourself honestly. Not with cruelty or harsh judgment, but with the quiet clarity of someone who finally accepts seeing what is actually there. Whatever you avoid looking at will always find its way back to you. Not all at once, not brutally, but gradually in the form of chronic fatigue, unexplained irritability, or that vague sense that something is off without being able to name exactly what. Organizing yourself in silence is precisely choosing to stop running from that inner gaze. It is a decision that does not need to be announced because it does not need to be heard by anyone else to be real. When you know where you're going, you no longer feel the need to justify it. Silence becomes a natural form of protection. It distances you from pointless comparison, from the need for validation, from the temptation to explain your choices to people who never asked. While some people are busy talking about their plans, others are quietly building them. And it is often those you never hear who end up going the farthest. Picture your mind as a workspace. When it is cluttered with intrusive thoughts, unprocessed regrets, and constant worry about the future, genuine focus becomes nearly impossible. But the moment you begin to clear that space, something shifts. A stillness settles in. A mind that has found its order does not rush. It no longer runs from rest. It chooses its priorities rather than being dragged along by them. Inner order is clarity. And clarity is a form of freedom that no external circumstance can take from you. If this content is resonating with you, subscribe to this channel right now, because every week new reflections just like this one are shared to help you live with more intention. Meditation is not a complicated system reserved for naturally methodical personalities. It is a series of small conscious gestures repeated with regularity. Preparing your space in the morning is laying the first stone of the day. Drinking a glass of water before anything else is an act of respect toward a body that has been carrying you for decades. Taking 5 minutes to identify what truly matters in the hours ahead is a sign of emotional maturity that very few people actually develop. These rituals seem ordinary, almost too simple to be taken seriously, but their simplicity is precisely what makes them powerful. Together, they form an invisible structure, a foundation that keeps you steady even on your most difficult days. Being extremely busy does not mean being aligned. Some people rush through their entire day, check off task after task, respond to everyone who needs them, and fall asleep at night with that hollow feeling of having run hard without moving forward. Productivity without direction produces nothing essential. Silence, on the other hand, helps you find that direction again. It is not about doing more, it is about doing what matters at the right moment with the right intention. Before even trying to organize the space around you, some honest questions deserve your attention. What is genuinely weighing on your mind right now? What could be simplified without actually costing you anything meaningful? What could you let go of without losing what is truly precious to you? What people call disorder is often an accumulation of things they are still holding on to out of habit, out of fear, or simply because letting go requires courage. Real organization begins when you accept releasing what is heavy, not from your space, but from your mind. Nothing solid is built quickly. Inner balance takes time, sometimes a great deal of time. It is built one day at a time, one decision at a time, one small gesture at a time. There will be periods of doubt, moments when you want to quit, days when everything feels too slow, too blurry, too hard. But every single step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the clarity you're looking for. Silence is your ally in those moments. It teaches you to remain steady when everything around you seems to be moving too slowly. It reminds you that patience is not passivity, it's active trust in the unfolding of things. Organizing yourself does not mean filling your calendar until it suffocates you. It means knowing when to act and, just as importantly, knowing when to stop. Real discipline is not the kind that wears you down, it's the kind that finds the right rhythm. Rest does not slow you down, it recenters you. And once recentered, you move with an effectiveness that agitation never could have produced. The world will keep making noise, demanding, rushing, comparing, but you are under no obligation to follow a pace that was never yours to begin with. The calmer your mind becomes, the clearer your vision of things gets. And within that calm, a new kind of power emerges, the power to stop reacting to everything that comes your way. When you stop reacting to every single stimulus, you genuinely take back the reins of your own life. Sometimes you have to take apart what you have built in order to truly find yourself again. Putting things back in order is not about fixing something broken. It's about accepting to start differently, with more awareness and less unnecessary weight. Chaos is not always a sign of failure. It's often a signal, a message from your own interior telling you that you have drifted too far from yourself. Getting your life in order is not about becoming someone else. It's about finding the person you were before the noise of the world drowned out your inner voice. It's about becoming yourself again, without the mask, without all the accumulated obligations, without all those expectations that gradually buried your natural rhythm. Silent discipline is a deep form of self-respect. It is not rigidity. It is not austerity. It is the way of telling yourself each day, with both gentleness and firmness, that you respect yourself enough to keep going. Nobody sees the effort you make in the quiet, but it is precisely that quiet which builds a stability that nothing external can shake. Every small gesture repeated in silence becomes concrete proof, Proof that you are changing, even when that change is not yet visible to anyone, including yourself. Real progress is often imperceptible from one day to the next, but one morning you wake up and realize that your consistency has transformed everything. Inside you, there is a space that neither noise, nor fear, nor the weight of the past can reach. That's where your clarity is born. When you learn to return to that space, you no longer need to control everything around you. You observe, you choose, you move forward. Peace is not a distant destination. It is a state you build, one gesture at a time, one day after another. Creating order means protecting that inner space. It means deliberately choosing what you allow into your mind and what you refuse to let take root there. Every time you say no to what drains you, you say yes to your own peace. Real organization is not a frantic race. It's a natural movement, an advance, a pause, a breath, a return. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you discover your own rhythm. And that authentic rhythm, slow and deep, brings you back to yourself. Nothing lasting is built in a hurry. Silence teaches you exactly that, to stop running and start moving with intention. Order is not a constraint you impose on yourself. It is the very foundation of freedom. It is what allows you to act without being overwhelmed, to think without getting lost, to feel without dissolving into the emotion. When clarity settles inside, the external world stops feeling like a permanent threat. You no longer need to run from anything. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone. You are simply present. And in that silent presence, your strength begins to breathe again. Stepping back is not running away from what is difficult, it's choosing clarity over immediate reaction. In a culture that glorifies speed and constant urgency, pausing is an act of quiet resistance. What you thought was urgent no longer is. What seemed impossible suddenly appears more manageable. Inner order begins at precisely that moment when you decide to respond rather than react. Staying calm does not mean feeling nothing. It means not being governed by what you feel. You can be tired, sad, or moving through anger and still remain centered, because inner peace is not the absence of emotion. It is the gentle mastery of your own interior world. Calm is built like a muscle, slowly, through repetition. And every time you choose to breathe instead of explode, you strengthen that quiet power that has been living inside you all along. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers that you can only hear when everything finally goes still. It reveals who you truly are when you are no longer trying to be noticed, when you are no longer attempting to meet everyone else's expectations. It is in silence that you rediscover your truth, the one you lost sight of while trying to manage everything, understand everything, and explain everything. At some point, something shifts. You realize you no longer need to chase anything, because everything you were searching for outside yourself is quietly taking shape within. Organization is neither a list nor a method to apply mechanically. It is a way of being, a silent promise you make to yourself, the promise to stop neglecting who you are. When you begin to bring order to your thoughts, your entire life gradually aligns. You speak less, you feel more, you choose with greater precision, and the noise of the world slowly loses its grip on you because you have learned to hear something else entirely, your own voice. Stop trying to impress, stop trying to prove, start trying to understand yourself. That's where real strength lives, building yourself in the quiet, disciplining yourself without breaking yourself, finding yourself without losing yourself. One day you will look back and you will see that your greatest transformation did not begin in the chaos, it began in the silence. Write in the comments the following words: I organize in silence.
And if these words spoke to you, subscribe and share this video with someone in your life who needs to be reminded that calm is not weakness, it is the greatest victory of all.